Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. One of the people I listen to on this platform is Rob Gavagan, formerly known as Rob Dyke. This gentleman changed his last name simply so he could fit in with the new paradigm, as it's called. But that's not the focus of this particular episode. He said something last night, but that I've been thinking about for quite some time. And the fact is, the reason why TikTok and Shorts and platforms like that are becoming more popular and YouTube is becoming less popular is simple. And I've realized I'm no different from anybody, I do it too. But people are gravitating towards the quick video. A couple graphics, a couple shots drawn by what looks like a 3-year-old, and throw in a little bit of humor. That's all people want. Either that or be a morbidly obese person or a significantly attractive woman, and you got yourself a platform no matter what you have to say. People aren't interested in analysis and thought and any sort of deep critical thinking. No, it's all about the quick one-shot slapstick gag. Prank channels, for example. They're all over the place, and they're usually quick-hit pranks. You go up to somebody, you step on their sneakers, whatever, and you run like hell. They're all fake, they're all staged, but people are looking for that quick hit, adrenaline shot. Yeah, I got that in, and they're good to go. This means a lot. YouTube rewards creators for the amount of time people listen to you. So, for example, if you listen to the first minute of this video and click away, YouTube doesn't really consider that worthy of their attention. Whereas if you listen to the end and you listen to the end of every one of my videos, YouTube is more likely to promote it and to put more eyes on it. So we have this interesting dynamic in society where YouTube is pushing creators to make videos that people keep eyes on them longer, whereas society is wanting things done quicker, shorter, and with more pizzazz. Now, there's nothing wrong with either approach. There's a couple of good channels out there that do manage to impart some knowledge and some humor, like Blue Jay, like Salmonella, and they do it with pretty good accuracy, a little bit of humor to them, and, neither one of them's going to win an award for drawing, but they're better than I am, so who am I to criticize? When you see a trend like this, it's no wonder TikTok, despite the fact it's well known that it's facial recognition software that's trying to build as big as a database as possible for its masters, and I'll give you a couple guesses who its masters are. TikTok is becoming more popular because people can look at it and get their instant fix of high adrenaline with people running and screaming and doing crazy stuff. And that is what passes for entertainment. I used to have TikTok. It wasn't bad. I have nothing to complain about. But unfortunately, the only shows that I was interested in were the guy who did like 1-minute science experiments. That's the kind of stuff I was interested in. Whereas the humor videos generally involve somebody putting on some bit of music, and either if they're a young, attractive woman doing a cute little dance to it, or if they're a heavy-set person, then doing a silly dance to it. Or something that could have been ripped right out of an Abbott and Costello sketch from all those years ago. This is something I think we really need to pay attention to. Now, society is not getting dumber. No. Our tastes are changing. Just like women's skirts. In the 1890s, they had these big herringbone things that clipped in around the waist that required a maid to get behind you and tighten the strings so it would accent your bosom. Then the early 1900s, 1910s, they had those skirts that would wrap around your legs so you could barely even walk. They had to build special streetcars just so that women would be able to step on them, which is how restrictive these things were. But they were considered the height of fashion. Either not being able to breathe or not being able to walk. That was the height of fashion of the time. We're kind of doing that again in 2021. Our knowledge is being pinpointed. We're being hemmed into this skirt of knowledge. And YouTube is very good at figuring out your preferences. So, for example, if you watch Married with Children, one of those 10, 15-minute clips that you might remember from your childhood, you have a little chuckle at it, it's going to recommend another one of those to you. And if you bite on that, it's going to recommend more. If you watch whatever it is, it's going to try to recommend more of the same. I am not a particular fan of wrestling, but I happen to enjoy Brian Zane's commentary on Wrestling with Regret. I love his presentation. I love his style. Don't really care about much else. But because of that, I get wrestling stuff recommended to me left, right, and center. Not interested. Couldn't care less. Only interested in one person's take on it. And that's the one thing YouTube can't figure out. Now, watching my family, they will also click on those other videos. And yeah, what is it? Is it Shroom? Is it whatever the hell it is? Anyways, all it is basically one person giggling like a maniac while the other ones scream at each other. And I'm like, this is not in the least bit educational nor interesting. That's me talking as a much older person, but at the same token, I'm pretty sure even as a younger person, it wouldn't have appealed to me. Everyone's tastes are different. The point is, we have an entire society getting used to their information being distilled and given to them bite-sized. They did a survey on Facebook, and people were sharing articles after only having read the title. And this happened almost 80% of the time. It was like 60, 70, 80. It was somewhere in there. And they hadn't even read the articles. There was no click-through, just people shared it for whatever the headline is. Now, I'm the lone remaining psycho in this, where I actually click on headlines and read them, because a lot of times you find that the headline is a little bit misleading, because headlines are designed to get your eyes on the article. They always have been. That's never going to change. I'm not faulting anybody for it, because if you don't get eyes on your headline, you don't get anybody reading it, and you can't justify to your advertisers whatever you happen to be selling, whether it's ad space, revenue, whatever the heck it is that you're selling. You need eyes on your product. The problem is us as a society. We've given up on educating ourselves. It's better to click on a quickie little meme and share it than it is to actually do any research about it. That's why Facebook, here's the funny thing, Facebook has started putting their fact checks out on individual articles. Now, their system is not perfect. I'm not saying it is. But people get offended that their article has been fact checked. Most of the time I look into the fact check, yeah, they're right. There is a discrepancy in the article. Now, about 10, 20% of the time, let's be generous to people. People are complaining that it's fact-checking for no apparent reason. And yes, I have seen examples of both. But the vast majority of time, the Facebook algorithm is pretty clever at figuring out what it wants and how it wants to deliver it. Not perfect, pretty darn good for artificial intelligence. And we all know some people get a couple strikes and they get suspended and banned and shadow banned and all that sort of stuff. But the fact is, there is a policy that's being implemented to make sure that people are doing more than just repeating something and not checking into it. And people are annoyed at this. They don't like the fact that somebody is standing over their shoulder and knocking on the shoulder and saying, hey, that's not entirely factually correct. And they'd rather point out the few select examples where the algorithm fails, because every algorithm is going to fail, rather than say, you know what, overall, this is a good thing. Yes, we don't like Skynet looking over our shoulder and telling us what's right and wrong. But like I said, on the whole, it's a good thing. And since people aren't clicking through on the articles to read, we kind of do need a policeman, somebody to be out there and say, hey, this is not acceptable. I mean, there's a few websites out there that specialize in what's colloquially known as fake news, whether on purpose or because they have a specific agenda. I'm not going to name them, but there's a couple websites out there devoted to nothing but hate. And on occasion, I see these things being referenced as though they were fact. And I know these people have not come up with a new idea since the 1930s. And you might recognize that date as the time when a certain nation decided that the rest of the world was beneath them. Exactly. You're going to start getting the hint of what I'm hinting at when I'm talking about particular websites. And they get shared onto Facebook all the time, and they're shared by people who are not bad people, who, if they knew anything about those websites, wouldn't have anything to do with them. But because we're so interested in the quick hit, that little bit of adrenaline that shows, my idea is right, the self-gratification, the self-verification, we don't really care too much about looking into it or reading the article where it has the small point that says, this does not apply to the following situations. This is a select case that is only applied in a study of 10 university students. Those don't matter to people. The headline does. The conclusion does. Academia is under attack. And it's not the fault of YouTube or TikTok or anything. It's kind of a general tendency. There's always been a resentment towards people with education. Oh, you're an egghead. Well, not an egghead. I'm just somebody who has an education that's higher than grade 9. Oh, well, you have all that theoretical knowledge. That just shows you've been indoctrinated. No, it shows that I'm willing to sit and listen to ideas. I categorize my own ideas and my own thoughts, and they're different from what I was taught. Some I kept, some I discarded, some I substituted. That's the purpose of post-secondary education. If you go in to post-secondary education, you believe everything your professors tell you, or your teachers if you're in college, you're going to have a very confusing existence. You kind of got to learn to pick and choose. That's one of the most important things about post-secondary education. But the most important thing about post-secondary education is listening and learning. That's right, listening and learning. Social media is the dead opposite. It's about not listening and repeating your point 10,000 different ways until the opponent either knuckles down or gives up on you. That's social media. It's an echo chamber. Now, again, nothing wrong with that. But I'm seeing this trend. Again, it's shown in the YouTube versus TikTok dichotomy, shall we call it. TikTok caters to 1-minute videos. YouTube tries to cater to 30 and 40-minute videos. Don't worry, I'm not sick, just allergies. Which is scary, I have to declare that, but that's 2021 for you. TikTok is there to show you, here's a product, haha, move on to the next one. Just like high school is kind of there to show you, here's how to do math, haha, let's move on to the drama. And it's a different level that you learn in university. I hated Oedipus in high school, Oedipus Rex. And then in university, I learned that there was not only different versions of it, and there were a couple that I actually liked, but there were better ways to interpret it than they were teaching us in high school. Especially when you know it's part of a cycle. And you know it's a trilogy. That's right. The ancient Greeks were writing trilogies long before Disney got the idea. Thousands of years before. And a play is definitely nothing that you can sit down and do 5-minute shorts. Well, you can. Vaudeville used to do it. But it's not really what a play is designed for. A play is designed, even a one-act play is designed to sit down, make you pay attention for 10, 20 minutes, and then if it's a one-act play, move on to the next act, move on to whatever needs to be done. The important part is YouTube is trying to cater more to the higher end, to people who are willing to listen for a couple minutes, to people who are able to give up part of their day. If you notice, YouTube has even showed you which videos are suitable for listening to. I love that. James Michael Gaudier, Oh my God, I can't remember the guy they listen to all the time. They're listenable, so I can listen in and I can do other things. And I'm not going to plug any earphones here, and I'm not going to plug any services, but those are exactly what I want. So if I'm cooking something, I can put the channel on, I can listen, I can learn, I can be doing something else. And I'm surprised more people don't do this. As an author, I find it very difficult to get people's eyes on my product because I'm writing, 60, 80,000 words, and people are like, oh my God, that's horrible. Well, no, Lord of the Rings is like 110,000, and that's just the first book. Most Harlequin novels are about 60,000 words, and those things get gobbled up. Most murder mystery books are about 80,000 words. People read those until you tell them it's 80,000 words, and like, oh, I had no idea. And this is what we have in society at present. The general population doesn't want to be educated. They want to be comfortable in what they have, and they want to get their news in a 20, 30-second video that's going to say, you're right, we're all on the right side. I hate to tell you this, the real world is far more complex. And it's taken me 16 minutes and 22 seconds just to start explaining that the world is more complex than a 1 minute, even a 5-minute video can tell you. Certainly not a 16-minute and 30-second video. We're going to be exploring a little bit more of this, not necessarily the next episode, but the same token, it's an important thing. I want to do a deep dive into a very controversial subject. I'm just deciding how I'm going to approach it. So, could be the end of my channel, could be the beginning of a new one. Anyways, I wanted to get this out of the way first, so that when you understand when I'm talking at length in the next little bit about something that most people are going to find uncomfortable, there's a reason. Because it can't be done in 5 minutes. It can't be a 10-second TikTok video. It has to be looked at and examined in detail, even for just the past 100 years. Going to have to listen, we're going to have to be educated, and most importantly, we're going to have to be willing to learn. And if I could draw a stick figure, I'd be showing you the stick figure instead of the apartments. But anyways, we wish to thank you for listening to this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe, and we hope you have a fantastic day.